Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the circle of fifths and specifically how to group chords together on guitar. This is my first live stream through my computer and mobile hotspot. So if you guys see any issues, please send me a chat about it or comment below. I'm going to wait till the end to take questions if there are any. Of course, you can check out Music Theory in One Lesson if you need to catch up on your circle of fifths. I have the free video on my channel. Also, you can check out musicandguitarlessons.com. It's kind of a blog that I do every now and again, but specifically I have a membership there. If you get the paid membership, you can join my Facebook group and then ask me some questions, which will turn into these here live streams. So, first off, we're going to take a look at the circle of fifths, each scale, and how to build chords in each scale for open position. By the end of this lesson, you should have a pretty good idea as to what chords fit well so that you can write some songs. This isn't going to cover thorough composition or borrowing or anything like that, but it'll give you a good idea as to how to fit chords together and specifically which ones to use on the guitar. So, the circle of fifths, of course, Music Theory in One Lesson, if you have not checked it out. I'm not going to go through what the circle of fifths is, but it always starts on C. So if we write out our C major scale, like so, we can use these notes on the board to build our chords. So I'm going to label my scale degrees, and we're going to start building some chords. So first off, anytime you build a chord, of course you're grabbing the root, and you're going to label it a Roman numeral according to the root. There's also capital and lowercase Roman numerals for major and minor. And also we'll be talking about some diminished chords as well. So in order to understand how you're going to put chords together, first you need to know that one, when you build a chord off of one, that's major. 2 is minor. 3 is also minor. 4 and 5 are major. 6 is minor. And 7 is diminished. So if we're building chords in C, our first chord would be C major. Our C major chord in first position. Our second chord would be D minor, right? D minor. Our third chord would be E minor. Fourth is F major. Fifth is G major. Sixth is A minor. And seventh, that'll be a B diminished chord. I'm going to use the D, the open B as the bass, or open D as the bass note. 7 diminished. So if you're a kind of a strummer and a singer, and you need just to quickly reference chords according to what key you're in, this is the way that you go about it. Now let me prove to you that these chords are actually the chords I'm saying. So in order to get a chord, you're going to take the root note, and you're going to take every other note until you have 3 notes that you play simultaneously. So if we're looking at our C major in first position here, we have our C, 3rd fret of the A, E, 2nd fret of the D, open G, 1st fret of the B for C, and open C, or so open E, rather. C, E, G, C, E. Yes, you can double up the notes. And for the 2 chord, D, F, A. Well, I have D, A, D, F for my basic open D minor chord in first position. E minor, E, G, B. Well, open E, 2nd fret of the A for B, 2nd fret of the D for E, open G, open B, and open E. These all work just like that. If you were to check the notes, they will be in the chord. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to run through every note of every chord here. I am going to run through a multitude of keys for you. So you can either build these chords yourself, or you can look them up in a chord book, which can be handy as well. I like to build them myself, but many people like to use a chord book as well. So if we go around the circle of fifths, next that's going to take us to G major. So now we have G major. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And this works the same way. Our one chord is major, which gives us G major. Two chord is minor, so A is the second note, we get A minor. Three chord's minor, that gives us B minor, of course. Then we have C there, C major for the four chord, D major for the 5, E minor for the 6, and then we get F sharp diminished for our 7 diminished chord. Sorry, rather I got the, I accidentally put an A sharp in there. And that works the same way as the last key. So if we go to the next stop in the circle of fifths, we're getting D major. So if we go through these, of course we're going to get 1 being D major, 2 being E minor, 3 being F sharp minor, 4 being G major, 5 being A major, and then 6 is B minor, 7 we have C sharp diminished, oopsies, I hit the open D there, and then we get D major after that. So this works much the same way. You're going through, you're finding the notes that you need, and 1 major, 2 and 3 minor, 4 and 5 major, 6 minor, 7 is diminished. So let's take a look at the next stop in the circle of fifths. That'd be A major. All right, A major. So, 1, our A major chord. 2, B minor. 3, now we get C sharp minor. 4 is D major. 5 is E major. 6, our F sharp minor. Then we're going to get G sharp diminished as our next diminished chord. And of course, back to 1, our A major. So of course, if you're writing songs, these chords will go great together. Give them a shot, and you can use the scale to add little flavor notes in there as well. Next stop, E major. All right, so this works the same way. First chord, E major. Second chord, F sharp minor. Third chord is G sharp minor. Fourth chord is A major there. Fifth chord is B major. Then we have a C sharp minor. Oops. Then we have D sharp diminished, back to E major after that. So of course, look up your chord forms if you need these, or try and locate those notes individually. All right, so those are our main guitar keys. You're not going to run into B major a heck of a lot. F sharp major and C sharp major, it's a very rare thing unless you're using a capo, so I really don't think we need to worry about it. There's a couple other keys that I think we need to talk about. F major is a great one to talk about, and then I want to talk about a couple minor keys. Now the big reason why I'm skipping some of those keys is because the guitar, you know, even though we can play in every key, certain keys work better because of the open strings involved. And as you can see, there's a lot of open strings here in this scale. However, this scale has a flat in it. We're not using any sharps. So our 1 is F major. Our 2 is G minor. Our 3 is A minor. Our 4 is B flat major. Our 5 is C major. Our 6 is D minor. And our 7 is an E diminished. And of course, back up to F. I always like the F, where you play the F chord and the open I, that really nice F major 7. Anyhow, that's how you group chords together in F. Now let's talk about a couple minor keys. Some things change here. I'm going to grab my guitar stand. I'd like to get some of this chalk off the board here so that the white doesn't overwhelm the camera. This is live, so I don't get to make cuts like I do in my other videos. So one of the most important things to understand is that when you switch to minor, the same concept applies, but this time the Roman numerals that you get are a little different. So let's go ahead and I'm going to dry this off just a little, but it doesn't do good to write on a wet board. So our 1 is minor, 2 is diminished, 3 is major, 4 and 5 occur naturally as minor, though often 5 is created in a way that we make it major, but we're not going to cover that here. Maybe we will, maybe, I don't know. So our 4 is minor, but I'm going to list 5 as minor here. 6 and 7 are major. All right. So let's take a look at a couple common minor keys for guitar. First and foremost, probably A minor, and then E minor, by far the two most common, but we're going to start with A. All right, so I wrote my scale out here, and up here I put a little G sharp because we're going to talk about what we use that for. But just to go through it, we have A minor, then we have a B diminished chord, then we have C, then we have our D minor, so, right, we have our E minor, then we have our F major, G major, and then back to A, right, so A minor, B diminished, C major, works the same, We're just applying that across the board. Now sometimes we're going to want to put a G sharp in there to give us either a major 5 or a diminished 7, depending on what you're going for. And that would give you either an E major, right, or a G sharp diminished. It doesn't, you know, sometimes you want the diminished, sometimes you want the major, but really what its purpose to do is to bring you back to 1, because that G sharp really, really wants to go home to the home chord, in this case, A minor. Now, if we take a look at a couple other minor scales, we're not going to do as many because, of course, Music Theory in One Lesson covers these scales. And now you can go to that video and go through the circle of fifths there and use these principles. So let's take a look at E minor. Okay, so E minor, 1, E. 2 is our F sharp diminished chord. Oopsies. I'm not used to playing this guitar standing up. I was on the wrong strings there. So we have F sharp A, C. Our 3 is G major, right? Our 4 is A minor. Our 5 we can play as B minor. Or if we sharp the 7, we get a D sharp, giving us B major. Our 6 is C major. And our 7 is D major. Now, you can also turn that D major into D diminished by sharping that 7. But again, it just depends where you are in the chord progression. When you sharp that D, it tends to pull you back home to 1, which is our E minor chord. So, as you can see, this is a concept that if you apply it correctly, you can come up with a lot of different kinds of songs. You can analyze the music you currently play, and it makes your experience a lot better. And learning to recognize chords is very, very, very important. There's one last point I want to illustrate with this live stream. In order to illustrate it, I'm going to need to write some numbers down on a piece of paper. I'm going to give you a few moments to look at these numbers, and I'm going to ask you what they are. All right, what were those numbers? Chances are you couldn't tell me. But I'll write a sentence down that is roughly the same amount of letters that was numbers. Granted, you can read my handwriting. Now don't worry about the numbers this time, just look at the sentence. You could probably repeat that sentence to me. The reason being, you understand those words, you can abstract them. When you know this information and you're playing through your songs and you know your keys and you know which chords are where, then memorizing and writing and learning new songs becomes a heck of a lot easier. A heck of a lot easier. So, please, leave your questions and comments below. I'm going to do my best to get to them. I have been a little bit slow on answering comments lately. I didn't know my channel was going to get big. It's getting up to 10,000. I know 10,000 isn't that much compared to some people, but I originally made this channel for my students, and now I've got tons of questions flowing in, and I'm currently working on a classical guitar book, so I don't always have the time to get back to everything, but I'm going to take a little time to get back to you guys. The reason I wanted to run through this as my first live stream is because I'm going to be constructing some chord progressions for you guys and helping you to write songs. We're going to come up with some cool finger picking patterns and stuff, and all the stuff that I come up with here essentially is going to be free for anybody to use. Think of it kind of, I'm going to try and do like a Bob Ross version of writing guitar parts. So I figured this would be pertinent information to have up front. If you want to request a certain type of chord progression, or if you want to request a song that we look at the chord progression and reconstruct it into something else, you can post that in my Facebook group, which of course is limited to my paid members only. So paid members, you guys, please ask me some questions. It's going to end up on the live stream. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, have fun, guys.